Another photo of some interior block work. This will be back in the lower level sheriff's station where the arsenal rooms, evidence rooms, etc. are at. Those will be your secure evidence lockers. We're doing some block-out masonry for that. And then there's some exterior door frames that will lead out into the common areas on the lower level. Interior beam, that'll be in your new boardroom. That'll be the operable partition, which was an alternate that was accepted. So that beam is getting installed today and tomorrow, so we'll be able to get that operable partition field measured and on site.
That's it.
And that's all I got. Any questions on site progress or upcoming events? Our curtain wall is slated to start the 17th, so we'll be starting on that west elevation, kind of going clockwise around the building as well.
Stephanie?
So props to your roof guys. My dad used to, I mean, he still is in construction. I grew up on roofs, which probably isn't okay, but I did. And scrapping out jobs, and that's some of the hottest work that there is. I also want to say I saw one of the guys painting the primer and shouted at my husband, "They're painting!" So he was like, okay. So anyway, but it's exciting to see the building progress.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Wilson?
Mine's a curiosity question. So when do the boilers get installed?
The boilers will be installed, kind of like getting set up. The main part is getting them set so we can field measure all the piping and et cetera that'll go to them. So the boiler will be set this week. They're slated to arrive.
Oh, this week. So what kind of fuel is it? Are they electric boilers, natural gas? What kind of boilers are they?
With the building's existing service, we have natural gas.
Okay.
So we're going to utilize that. They'll be powered by natural gas.
All righty. And there's 2 boilers?
There's 3.
3, okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Ellie?
Will there be any solar in use at all with this building on the roof? No?
Yeah. We did examine that and talked to a couple of contractors about that, and we could not find anyone who would come forward. All we have is the roof to work with, and with the parapet wall being about 5 feet tall, our setbacks from the parapet wall really eliminate a lot of opportunity for solar panel use. So nobody felt good about spending a lot of money on a solar system that really wouldn't give you as much return value. So, however, the HVAC systems, all our systems being put in the building are high efficiency. And we're going to see a dramatic decrease if we were to compare utility usage and costs from the last year versus what we'll see the first year in the building. It'll be significantly less.
And just a follow-up, are there any plans to use the roof for anything?
No, actually, it'll be off limits just for staff. It'll be air handlers and other mechanical equipment put up there, not available. It's not a place that the public or our general staff you want. The door actually to the roof will be locked just to ensure that no one can get up there and hurt themselves somehow.
No Verizon tower?
Verizon is gone. They've created actually on a tower that was existing, they rented space and moved their equipment.
Good. All right. How do you think the utilities over there will compare to the utilities at Brookins?
It'll be under the same contract. So our utility contracts will expire at the end of the year. So we're out looking right now for vendors. Ameren's still the delivering agent, but we'll be talking to both gas and electric providers.
I just meant more like a usage amount. Like, is that kind of an apples to orange thing because of the building differences, or?
Yeah, it is. It'd be hard to compare. I mean, it's a 90,000 square foot building where this is also a little over 93,000 and some change. the mechanicals here, while we've invested in good, high efficiency, we got a lot of hallways over here versus what we have at the plaza. The building envelope over there, both Bailey Edwards and our partners, Brian Russo, doing a great job with what's going to be put up on the exterior. So, we're not going to have the air filtration that existed in that building prior to us taking it over. So feel pretty good about it. It's going to be airtight, and the climate inside will be, warm when it needs to be warm and cool when it needs to be cool, and cost less to operate.
Stephanie? When do we anticipate moving in?
I just had that conversation earlier with Austin at a construction meeting. He's hoping May,
Okay.
when the building will be ready. I would, guard it as June or July. However, when we started this project, we were going off the assumption that the elevators would last a year or two. And as part of the agreement with whoever was the general contractor, we were to make elevators available. Well, what we found very shortly in our first month of demo work with Born Russo is they were breaking down on a daily basis, and we needed to do something about it, because you cannot put this kind of dollars into a facility, move your staff, and have elevator problems for both your staff and the public. So we rearranged our capital plan to incorporate an elevator project this year. It's been bid out. The low bidder is Otis Elevator, and hope to get a signed contract back this week from them. We had a negotiation Zoom meeting last Friday, so feel pretty good that we're close and on signing it. But the problem that we've got is that they believe it'll be about a 60-week once the contract's signed. Well, that puts us a year from now.
I know what do we put, $250,000 in to facilitate the move, something like that, into the 2024 budget? Are you anticipating that you're going to get an outside vendor to facilitate that move, is my assumption? And then I'm guessing we're going to have to buy some new furniture, and how are you going to deal with, I'm sure everybody's going to make the argument that they need all new stuff, and, we don't want to move junk, but we also don't want to buy all new stuff. So how are you planning to navigate what is, I'm sure, going to be a tricky...
Yes, start with the move. The move itself, we will bid out the moving. We've got 10 maintenance guys and 12 custodians. I can't put them in a place we don't mind moving some small pieces around, but to do what it's going to take to move 165 employees between here and the public defender's office and the sheriff's office, that's a serious move, a lot of stuff. So we will bid that out. We'll start talking about moving soon. We have yet to determine exactly what we're going to do. The moving, as you said, Tammy put $250,000 in the facility budget as a one-timer to cover the expenses. Obviously, we're hoping we don't spend all that money, but we don't know until we bid it out. Regarding the furniture question, we're trying to sort that out now. I've got a meeting set up with a local furniture provider with state contracts. Michelle Jett and I, and possibly Steve, will be visiting them, just trying to get an idea what possible line, what's available, and what's a reasonable cost. And then we'll kind of sit back and I think put together our thoughts and a plan for what could be made available to various departments.
I'm glad to hear that it's not our folks that are going to be, moving crew is a job that's really hard on people's bodies too, especially if they don't do it regularly. And necessarily have all the right equipment and everything like that. So I'm really glad that we're not putting it on our guys.
We don't have the expertise, and we don't have the equipment. The movers, the professionals have got all the toys that, they can make moving pretty easy. And where
And
we would
that's-
struggle.
That's just like an injury situation waiting to happen.
Oh, Steve?
Dana's being kind of modest here. He's not talking about the fact that he was able to acquire a significant amount of used furniture that was previously at Lincoln Square with Health Alliance. That's being stored over at the jail currently. So some of the furniture needs are going to be addressed that way with furniture that's going to be at a much lower cost than it would have been if it would gone to Stocks to buy all of it.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Dana.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. And then we have an update on ITB 2022-009, the satellite jail consolidation. Oh,
Time out. I
Yes.
thought we were hearing from Josh next. I don't think
Oh,
we're done with
okay.
this group.
Oh, okay.
Because if not, I do have some questions. So, I thought we
bring
had Josh
Josh up.
coming up as part
Okay.
2 of the first group.
sorry, forgot about that happening. Okay.
So real quick, I want to touch on some of the items that Bowen Russo has done in the past 3 weeks to improve our percentages. So a lot of the K through 12 and higher education work has been wrapping up in the past few weeks. So we were able to acquire a couple of minority and female workers, which has been nice. JJ Breaker, Davis Electric, ourselves, female painters, as well as our minority labor. So through the process of our delays with RPs on the roof and the curtain wall, we've kind of had a very slow workforce on site for the past 3 months. So my hope is with the roof work getting complete, middle of September into September, that we'll be able to see those percentages go up even higher. We're able to staff minority laborers now 100% of the job. And then as long as we're interior and exterior painting, we'll have, female participation on site. So that's one of the things and updates we were able to achieve in the past 3 weeks. We're also going to be attending, there's a job fair, the Local 149 Career Expo at the Douglas Branch Library. That's on September 20th. So our office, Jim Lopez, Amy Bergman will be there representing us, trying to, get that workforce participation out there, opportunities that are out there in our community. So that is one of the items we're going to be doing. And then September 8th and 9th, there's a She Said Project Women's Conference here in Champaign at the theater. So we'll be attending that to kind of, they're bringing in a couple of local women to tell their stories, and hopefully, we'll be given that opportunity to, talk about the trades program and how that can be beneficial for women in our area. So. And then I have Joshua. He's going to talk about kind of what he's seeing in the trades and where we're at with, helping get our participation out there as well.
Yep. So my name is Joshua Robertson. I am a business representative for Carpenters Local 243, based here there in Champaign. I've been the rep now for 10 years, and I can promise you the recruitment effort, not only for just the carpenters, but for all the trades, has been, relentless. We're in every career fair that we're invited to. We're in every community college that will have us. We're with every school district that has some sort of building trades program, because those people are our future. Our minority levels are not where we would like them to be. We know that we're still working hard to try to get them there. Our contractors rely on us for for the manpower. So we're doing the best that we can to get there. I would encourage the county board to go back to their districts and promote construction. We don't have unlimited funds to where we can blast TV commercials on WCIA, Stevie J broadcasting, to where we can just talk about construction. So with your guys' help and getting into your little areas of the community would be significant for us. So I do appreciate you letting me come here with Bowen Russo and speak, and please know we are doing everything we can to try to increase our minorities and women in the trade. for the carpenters, and I can only speak for the carpenters because I have that data. But in the last 3 months, we started tracking it because it's not just the county board that has those requirements. IDOT has it, U of I has it, CDB has it, so we've been, this is nothing new for us. In 3 months, we've only had 6 minorities come through and 0 women. And I personally have been to career fairs, 3 of them in Rantoul, Illinois, Mahomet, Seymour. I have not heard of too many at Champaign Central, Centennial, or Urbana, but however, they do have the ECCA class that we are at every time they have us there. So it's like, we're there, we're in the communities, we was just walking in the Labor Day parade to promote ourselves, Our doors are open from 8 to 4:30. We do orientations monthly at our local, and our apprenticeships open 365 days a year, so.
Stephanie? Oh, did you? Okay.
So, and I don't know that if this is directed at you or maybe our staff or maybe a combination of, I think what would be really helpful is if we could see, and I think I asked for it last time, but I'm asking for it much more specifically, a chart that has prior payrolls aggregated by total numbers, female numbers, minority numbers. I just want 6 numbers. Current payroll, total, female, minority, total, those 2 added up. I'll even do the percentages. That's cool. And I think I'm at an unfair advantage because I got an email that I think went from Dana to Steve to me, and you provided a chart, but I don't know that the rest of the board has it or this committee has it in any meaningful way. So if we could just get that, and for the next group as well, every time in the packet as part of, and if there's nothing new to report, that's cool. Just put, the first 2, they could put zeros, but just those, if we could just get those 9 numbers, I think it'll be really helpful because it's a little bit hard to try to suss them out. I really appreciate the level of, especially the next group, the level of transparency of I feel like I know your workforce by shoe size, but and that's awesome. But figuring it out. 2 other things. I do want to give a shout out to the carpenters. I think sometimes you're a little bit modest. In 2018, 19, they hosted a series of 50 something hour leadership development training at their hall. I know this because I helped teach it, that specifically addressed issues of had open conversation about what were barriers to minority and female participation, and was specifically geared towards encouraging folks that were women and minorities within the union to take a leadership development class. So not only could they be members, but become leaders within their industry. So I also want to shout out the trades in general funded that program. They did it for a couple of years. We had, in other years, we had laborers and plumbers participate, but the carpenters they hosted the program for a full year. So I really appreciate that. I do want to say, I think that I did see, my question for you was going to be, tell me a couple of things you did since I saw you last. And so you knew, somehow are psychic. And so I appreciate the effort you've put in. And, the charts that I got, it did look like your August numbers went up. I'm not a mathematician, I just play one on the board. I think it was 8.8% minority in August. Now, the females are still 0, but that was much better than June and July where everything was 0. So it is real possible the schools were just, because it was 7.1% in April,
Yep.
and then 8.4% in May. I don't know. February, I think it was, or March. I don't know. It fell off, though, in the summer. It was 0% across the board, but it's picked, at least in terms of minority participation, is picked back up. And, our goal is 10%, and so 8.8% is actually pretty good. We'd like to get some women on the job, but I know, especially when you're talking about stuff like roofing, that's, tough. That's not just a local labor thing. So I appreciate the effort you're putting in, but if we could just get that chart with those 9 numbers, just every time, I think it'll make it a lot easier for us to assess. And I don't know if that's a you question or a Dana question or where the twain shall meet question, but those are the 9 number. Like, I think last time I just was like, I want aggregate numbers. Now I'm going to just be real specific because I got the email from your group, so that's all. But thanks for the effort that you put in. I appreciate it.
Could you, okay, before I move on to Mike, you went from 6 numbers to 9 numbers, and I want to make sure I'm getting the 9 numbers you're looking for.
So
It was
9
the-
9 numbers.
It was the start?
The cumulative prior month's total number of work, female numbers of work, minority numbers of work. If you want to do other things, I know the next group is also tracking veterans. We didn't require it, but that would be great. Anything else you want to throw in, but those 3 numbers, then current payroll, right? Those 3 numbers, and then those added up, total.
The
right?
total, that's
Right?
where the extras
Yeah.
came from.
If you want to
Got you.
throw in percentages, but I can usually eyeball percentages or calculate percentages on my phone pretty fast. But if we had those 9 numbers, so we could see year to date how we're doing, current payroll how we're doing, like, oh, did we have a huge spike? Because one of the things is we want to improve local participation in our jobs. We want our workforce as a county, both in the jobs that we pay for with staff, but also the jobs we pay for with contracts, to reflect the population of our county, right? That's our goal. Like, we're not trying to do more than, we're trying to just reflect the population of our county. But also, I think this is an opportunity for us to understand the labor pool, right? And so, if we do this for a few years on big projects and we see that, June and July, the numbers fall off, well, there's probably a reason. And maybe it is that the schools suck the life out of the entire labor pool, right? And that would be then understandable. But I think too, having that sort of landscape data is going to be important for us, not just for this project, but going forward. And I also I do recognize, we're building the house that we're living in, right? That this is something new that we've done. It's going to be imperfect, that we're trying it, right? I just want to make sure we're all trying our best. And I am more encouraged today than I was last month, so thank you for that.
Mike?
Stephanie hit most of the stuff I was going to say. I was going to say thank you for participating in the Douglas Park event and any of those, honestly. But a lot of times, what I feel like we see too is, you said we'll go to anywhere we're invited. Sometimes the people who are thinking to invite you aren't necessarily always the people that you want to make the impact with, right? And so going into actual communities, and hitting those areas is super helpful. So I think that's going to be a really positive event. As the son of a current operator father and a current labor mother, I've watched a lot of these things over the years too, and having a mom who's the only woman on job sites, who was recently at the Clinton Power Plant named the first ever woman general foreman for laborers. But she did note that carpenters have already had that happen before. So Matt Wachinski and I had a nice conversation about that recently. I think. I'm really glad that Stephanie has been pushing this. I'm sorry I wasn't here last month. That was the first day of my very first ever COVID case, so I missed that. But I'm glad that she's been on top of it, and that we can, as a board, kind of try to, as she said, kind of assess our labor pool. It is a big deal that the participation rates plummeted kind of across the. Most of the folks that I know in the trades are looking for bodies. People to come in and start to fill the ranks of, the younger generation, the people that are going to take over. You mentioned maybe that you haven't been able to crack into Central or Centennial as much or anything like that. Yeah, so I believe they do. My mentee just graduated from Central, and he looked at a couple of apprenticeships, potentially doing that. One thing I will say is, as a member of the CU One-to-One Mentoring Board, I would be super happy anytime to talk to any local about that program, because, it's a little bit wonky in the way that it's scheduled during the school day. So for a lot of folks that are on job sites, it's not so easy to step away. Matt Kelly and I actually met when he was a mentor for the kid that's the same age as me, but Matt, is usually doing something else, and he's wearing a suit. But I think, when those kids you know, they see all sorts of different careers. And we have a lot of folks from the U of I. We have a lot of participation from kind of all around. You know, when they get to talk to and meet somebody who is, you know, a tradesperson, and they actually get to, you know, learn a little bit more about that. I mean, I think that's another way that we can kind of show them different ladders upward. And so, you know, anytime I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that stuff. I think it's a super important, you know, connection that we have to our younger folks who are going to be entering the labor force.
Oh, could you?
Sorry. So I'm definitely interested in hearing more about that. You know, I've had multiple conversations with Clerk Ammons on how we can get into a community and start recruit from there. Ideas was we have a lot of minority carpenters that work for the University of Illinois directly, you know, and we've reached out to them, seeing if they would be interested in mentoring and getting involved in their neighborhoods and stuff like that, and showing these, you know, children that, hey, you know, construction is a good career and they pay well. So I would love to hear more about that.
Beth?
Have you been in touch with Mr. Tanner at Central at all? No, I have not. Okay, I'm going to send you his contact information. He's the one who usually arranges those visits. It'll either be virtual or it'll be in person. He'll do like college and career, and he does mention specifically, calls out the trades as far. You can schedule a time where you will show up and they will invite people who are interested and you can address those guys.
I was thinking of the same thing for Centennial. I get announcements every day.
Yep.
They send them home to the parents, the announcements that go out, and we've just started receiving, like EIU will be here, Southern Illinois will be here. Even if putting something like, you know, Local 149 Career Expo at Douglas Branch into the announcements, not only is that going to get announced to all the kids in the high school, but it's going to go to all the eyes of the parents who get that newsletter too. So
And teachers and, yeah.
I think it'd be an excellent way to, I
Broaden
mean,
the
if you
reach.
send a press release to those schools to get into the schools, if there's not necessarily a program that would invite you.
We, pre-COVID, we used to have a Trades Tuesday, and previous business representative Randy Johnson was handling that when he retired 2020, and then it seemed like it's just kind of faded away.
Yeah.
And then with this new ECCA class that the Education for Employment system that Nick Elder's doing, it seems like all of our Unit 4 or Urbana High School participation comes from that. And we haven't, as a building trades, and I'll talk to Kevin Sage and Matt Kelly, have not seen anything new come up, you know? So I'd be love any
We
contact
can
you guys
definitely
have.
share for Centennial and Central. There's 3 parents in this room that I know of, so we'd be happy to connect. Stephanie, did you have?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. The Trade Tuesdays came out of an initiative that started, I want to say, in 2018, where it was the CU.
Schools Foundation?
No, it was like CU Diversity in the Trades or something like that, CUDID. It's a big initiative. There was a big meeting at the library. Oh, there was one at the Plumbers Hall later, but there was one at the library where there was representatives from both cities, the state rep's office, the state senator's office, the county. There was just a bunch of folks there. We brainstormed ideas. Things that came out of it was we put together a guide that people that explains how to get into all the different trades. They did the Trade Tuesday program. I know that the trades were in Central because, you know, Central had that expansion recently, and it included a shop, right? Which I don't know that it would have otherwise. The other thing, though, I wanted to shout out, or 2 things, is that I do think if we as a board are saying this is a value we have, it's important for us to put our money where our mouth is, and so we've funded to the tune of $200,000, a new initiative as a pre-apprenticeship program. And my understanding is that CUILD, that initiative, that diversity, that the trades are going to try to kick it off again. And so that would be a great way for contractors to plug in and get involved. And then the program that I think is actually doing the most work in this right now is the Parkland program, the Highway Transportation Program. And the nice thing about Elise Duty Jones runs that program over at Parkland is that the students in that get a lot of skill sets, including they get on-the-job training in different skills, including, I think, some carpentry skills. They get tools They get even some certifications that are useful, and those folks are getting placed. I mean, that's what's really encouraging, is they're getting placed both within the trades or in not just unionized trades. Sometimes, I don't, Josh probably doesn't want to hear this, but sometimes non-unionized trades jobs, or even U of I, more like maintenance-y type jobs and stuff like that. And so I think one of the things that's, if you said to me right now, if you have a young person that you want to encourage to get into the trades that doesn't come from a traditional background of getting into the trades, that's the program I would send them to. And the students get paid, not paid a lot, but they get paid a stipend. So that exists at Parkland. It's a semester-long program. They get trained up in the trades and trained up in how to interview to get into the trades, trained up in math, because I'll be honest, I don't think I could do some of the math that y'all have to do. Like it really builds them into that career. And the number one problem that program, and it's funded by the state, is with highway department money, is throughout community colleges throughout the county. The number one problem that program has is participants, actually getting participants in the door. So if we on the board, I think somebody mentioned, I think Josh, you mentioned, if we could be advocating in the community, if there's one thing that you could advocate, is somebody is interested in that career. I mean, also, let's just be real, it's not a career for everybody. Just being on that roof is tough, right? And it also, to some degree, is a shakeout program, right? Like, do you want to be on time for a job that's tough physically every day? Because if not, this isn't the space for you, which is fine. It's not the space for everybody, right? But that, I think we as a board should be trying to do more. If we all have constituents that we represent, trying to help make those connections, because we have stuff that's happening in our community. I think sometimes it's connecting people. And then there's also the program at public housing,
Youth Build.
Youth Build, right? Which is maybe for a bit younger students. So like you could go from like Youth Build to the Parkland program to like a solid middle-class job. And we want people who can build. And I think it's true. I run into this all the time. People in this field are retiring at alarming rates, and pretty soon all of these jobs are going to be farmed out to people that don't live in our community unless I think one of the things we as a board could do more of is workforce development, to be perfectly frank. And this is just a small piece of what we can do, and so I appreciate the work that y'all are putting into it. But I just wanted to kind of landscape out some other spaces that I think that we as a board could support, and also try to like connect all of these pieces too.
Youth Build program that the Housing Authority have seems like a very unique program, and I want to say, we met with them twice. We're trying to get their participants, hey, your graduates, come send them through our door so we can talk about our program. But I want to say they had a dozen individuals that was in that program for that 9-month period, whatever it is, and they all seem to be very enthusiastic about construction work. So, yeah, we're really hoping to tap into that for more resources and future manpower needs.
Anything else on this program? All right. Thank you so much for the
Thank you.
update. Okay, and for real this time, we'll move on to ITB 2022-009 Satellite Jail Consolidation Update. We have Reef Stack Reed Architecture and PJ Her Construction.
Okay, Chris couldn't be here tonight, so you just.
I was looking down. I'm
Just get
sorry.
back. I know everyone's probably disappointed, but here, I'll run through some pictures. You're going to see kind of a lot of the same pictures from a different view. We primarily have two things going on site. One is masonry, and the other one is the installation of all the steel. So what you're looking at here is a picture from the north side of the building, right as soon as you walk into the south. Looking towards the south, that big wall in the background is the halfway point. So this entire north half will eventually be filled with a lot of masonry, probably 30,000 block. Here you can see on the south side, some of the columns, some of the beams, some of the joists being set to the exterior portion of the job site. You can start to see some of the scaffolding here for the interior masonry. We're focusing right now on the structural masonry that's inside. We have both structural and non-structural, with the goal to get all the steel installed and decked and putting our roof on in October. So that'll be a big milestone for everyone. Then we'll be inside doing all the cells and the interior walls, which are all masonry. So we have about 3 total months left of block work inside. Once the roof's on, we'll start addressing the air barrier on the exterior and the brick. So you'll start to see the building take shape from the road before too long. Here's just another picture of our folks working, swinging some joists into place, setting some beams, and that's pretty much it. We have 2 primary activities going on here for the next few weeks on site.
I feel like I'm already seeing construction from the road and things happening. Every time I'm on Art Bartel here coming to Brookins, I'm seeing the activity behind the building there, so. It's
Yeah,
good to see.
lots going on. We're happy with the progress. Everything seems to be lining up for a very good project, continues to be that way, so.
Any questions? Stephanie?
I guess, could you give like a similar answer? What have you been doing to work on your minority and women participation? And then, again, I don't know if this is the same 6 numbers for the 9 numbers. I guess I could add them up, but I'm going to ask for 9 numbers from just here on out monthly. That'd be awesome.
You got it. We'll get
And
you
also, I do want to, I think I mentioned this before. I think I have 100 pages on your personnel. I could add up his. I don't even know. I was looking at this. I was like, I appreciate the level of detail. I think I just need more of a bird's eye view.
Yeah, right. The front cover sheet that we send you with the percentages and the total hours, that probably is the most helpful. We'll make sure that's laid out in a way that has all the 9 primary numbers you're looking for. Interesting enough, we're doing the same thing that Austin spoke of. We're partnering with the UA Local 149 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters and Deshaun Williams Job Fair and Career Expo there at the library. We've also, I personally met with Jeanette Jurazak. I think I got that pronunciation right, with the That's What She Said project. And so we're actually sponsoring the Champaign event, the Bloomington event, and the one in Columbia, Missouri, where we also have an office. And through talking with her over coffee, we've connected on a few different ways to help improve our engagement in the community in our search for female workers. So some kind of cool stuff as went on there. You mentioned the apprenticeship program that you sponsored. I think you already know that we're involved with that. You won't see it tomorrow. We're submitting our pay application number 6, and in that we'll have updated numbers, and we will be hovering around 8% on minorities. But the good thing is 1% female. So we've had some activity and some forward movement. Unfortunately, Austin got on me at the beginning of this because we share the same subcontractors and we're fighting over the same personnel. So as one dips, the other one might go up a little bit. But it's just to the things everyone's been speaking of, and Josh alluded to. We're all, I think, at PJ Hare, we're trying. And we want to get you the data you need to help continue improvement as well. And so we'll do whatever we can to help.
I just want to say, I especially around the women in the trades, I think that Mike alluded to, this is not a local thing. This is a national thing. It's one of the most consistently one-gendered workforce in the country and has been, you know what I mean? So I do want to acknowledge the efforts that you're putting into workforce development, not just the job site on both of those issues, but particularly on women. We're not going to turn it around, you know what I mean, in the next 2 months. But the idea that y'all are investing in that workforce in the future, because, I think we as a county want that workforce in the future. because I want, good quality, well-built jobs with local labor.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Barbie movie, but that was even called out specifically in there was, the positive female energy of the construction sites. And I'm glad to see that some of that is coming
Right.
to construction.
Yeah, my on a personal note, my wife came from the trades as a laborer. Her father was a bridge superintendent, so through her college years, that's what she did, and she still supports that effort. So it's a personal thing as well. So I'm well aware of, like you are,
I
so.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Here is the part where we get to the semi-annual review of the closed session minutes. I see that you've all had a chance to review those. This is my first time handling these. This is the part where I ask, does anybody have anything that they need to address in these where we would need to go into a closed session? No? Awesome. Oh, Beth, you looked like you were about to say yes. Okay. No, we're good. Okay, so then presiding officers report. I have nothing. Sorry, what? We still have to vote on that. Okay. You have to have a motion. Oh, okay. So then can I get a motion to approve the closed session minutes from October 4th,
So moved.
2022? Beth, you're
Second-
back. So
Second,
moved.
Ingram.
Ingram has seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those will stay closed. Nothing further from me, no presiding officer's report. Our next meeting is October 3rd at 6:30 PM. We have nothing, wait, do these minutes go on the consent agenda? They don't, do they? No. Okay, so nothing on the consent agenda because we had nothing to vote on tonight. And then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.